Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including the arrest of a Carnival worker in Trumbull, Strafford's primary results, and a lot more. Frank Granito has your forecast, and later on a Nutmeg Sports Update, and Donald Lang also joins us to take a look back on this date in history. But first, a 58-year-old Carnival worker is being held on a $1 million bond after police arrested him on sexual assault charges at the Trumbull Fall Festival on September 7th. Now, according to reports, Trumbull police were contacted by New York State Police, informing them that a Carnival worker believed to be in town was wanted on 2 counts of sexual assault. New York officers described the suspect and said he was an employee at the amusement ride company that was contracted to do the festival. Now, officers went to the event shortly before noon on Thursday, the day before the festival opened, and arrested 58-year-old Roy Hilliard of Henrietta, New York. Trumbull police charge Hilliard with being a fugitive from justice, and he's currently awaiting extradition. You can get more on that story at TrumbleTimes.com. And Darien's VFW post commander and former longtime Darien postal worker Lenny Hunter was struck by a car in Bridgeport Tuesday morning while he worked as a crossing guard. That according to previous commander Phil Kraft, who visited Hunter at the hospital on Tuesday. Now, Kraft said Hunter, who's 68 years old and a Bridgeport resident, was in the intensive care unit at St. Vincent's Medical Center. He said Hunter was on the sidewalk when he was struck. Now, the Connecticut Post reported that shortly after 8 in the morning at the intersection of Park and North Avenues near the Geraldine Johnson Elementary School, 2 crossing guards were hit by a car as they worked at about 8:10 Tuesday morning. Now, a police spokesman said that Hunter took the full brunt of the car and was carried about 30 feet from the point of impact. Hunter has 2 broken legs and suffered a serious hit to the head. The retired postal worker and Vietnam veteran is in critical condition. He underwent surgery at St. Vincent's Medical Center in mid-afternoon on Tuesday. You can get more on that story at DarienTimes.com. And in other news, Hearst, Connecticut media reports that a Stamford police officer interrupted an armed robbery in a downtown park this week. Sergeant Jennifer Pinto said 2 people collecting cans and bottles in Rotary Park, just south of Tresser Boulevard on Greenwich Avenue, said they were approached by 2 teens on bicycles just after 5 p.m. Monday. Now, one of the youths asked the man for $5. When the man refused the youth pointed a gun at him, and the other suspect pulled out a knife. However, a police officer driving on Greenwich Avenue spooked the suspects, who fled south toward Richmond Hill Road on their BMX bikes. Now, Pinto said officers swarmed the area, making a number of stops, but were unable to find those suspects. And 2 women will head Strafford's major party tickets this fall, as Stephanie Phillips and Laura Hoydick emerged as the winners of Tuesday's primaries for mayor in Strafford. Now, Phillips, the Democratic Town Committee chairman, won her party's nomination with 1,315 votes, besting Joe Paul's 628 votes and Lenny Petroselli's 380 votes. Now, Hoydick, who is currently the 120th District State Representative, defeated Sandra Zalek 1,385 to 288 to take the Republican nomination. Phillips and Hoydick are not alone on the mayoral ballot, however. Paul and Zalek both have collected enough signatures to run as petitioning candidates on November 7th, meaning there will be a 4-way race to see who succeeds Republican Mayor John Harkins in December. Now, you can get more on Strafford's primary results, including the races for town council, at StraffordStar.com, and we'll have more coverage on today's CT Pulse at 12:30. In other news, police in Connecticut are investigating a report of a man posing as an off-duty police officer and trying to lure a teenage girl into his car. The 16-year-old told Naugatuck police that she was riding her bike when the man drove up and asked her several times if she needed a ride. She says he told her that he was a police officer but did not have his badge on him. When the man wouldn't leave, the teen screamed for help, attracting the attention of a passerby. Now, police said they are trying to track that man down. In other news, a 73-year-old Hamden woman gave Milford police a run for their money when she allegedly shoplifted, lied about her name, and then reportedly urinated on the floor of a police holding cell. Now, police said they were called to Whole Foods on the Boston Post Road September 11th because 73-year-old Dorothy Hart of Putnam Avenue in Hamden took about $110 worth of items without paying for them. Well, while being detained, Hart allegedly provided officers a false name of Dory Burleigh and also damaged multiple items that she had taken. Further investigation showed Hart to have an active warrant for her arrest, noting that she is accused of failing to appear in court September 5th, stemming from a larceny arrest in Hamden. Now, Hart later refused to sign her arrest paperwork and also urinated on the floor of a holding cell, police said. She was charged with 6th-degree larceny, criminal mischief, as well as interfering with arrest and criminal mischief. And an investigation is underway after a 49-year-old man was found dead in his Hartford police holding cell over the weekend. The Hartford Courant reports that police say the man was found unresponsive in the booking facility cell at about 6:30 in the morning on Sunday. Now, there were no immediate signs of suicide or foul play, and the death appears to be natural, police say. The man had been in police custody since Friday afternoon for several burglary-related charges. Now, during that time, he had been taken to the hospital twice for pre-existing medical conditions, and both times was released back to police. So far, his name is not being released. Per protocols, police immediately notified the state's attorney's office, internal affairs, and major crimes. An autopsy did not immediately determine the cause of death. All right, well, switching gears now, we're going to take a look at the forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
Thank you very much, Kate. It's partly cloudy out this morning, but we're starting to see those skies clear up as we head towards the afternoon. We're going to see intervals of sun and clouds throughout the rest of the day with an expected high of 77 degrees. It'll be partly cloudy overnight, a little bit humid out, temperatures right in the high 60s as we head into Thursday. Tomorrow brings on a mix of sun and clouds during the day, a high of 80 degrees. That number is going to feel more like 85, 86 with humidity levels around 65%. There is a chance for a passing thunderstorm or two during the late afternoon before what should be a mostly cloudy night around the county with a low of 65. Partly cloudy skies again on Friday morning, possibility of 1 or 2 more passing showers before noon. Still pretty humid out, temperatures right around 80 degrees. It's going to feel more like 90, humidity levels up around 80% on Friday. Partly cloudy overnight and breezy. There'll be a low of 64 before Saturday morning. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Lang will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and there's a lot more local news coming up after this.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during the summer clearance event, you'll find some of our best prices too. Like this lease on a 2017 Ram Quad Cab Express for $149 a month. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Richfield, PambyZone.com.
City Lacrosse is dedicated to the growth of lacrosse for youth and high school players. Directed by Stanford High head coach Mike Nazaro, we help players reach full potential on and off the field. With an indoor facility in Stanford, we offer year-round training, camps, clinics, and private instruction. Visit ctcitylax.com for more.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
New Canaan Foreign Car. Yes, New Canaan Foreign Car has been servicing all makes of foreign cars for over 50 years. We also buy, sell, and consign cars too. We can help you with all your automotive needs from service to sales. Call us at 203-966-2681. New Canaan Foreign.
Welcome back to this September 13th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. Going to throw it over to Donald Lang now to take a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, the state restored order on this day, but at a terrible cost. First, though, we go back to 1759, the Battle of the Plains of Abraham outside of Quebec City. The British defeat the French, and this battle was fought during the 7 Years' War. We call it the French and Indian War because, you know, the North Americans were fighting the French and the Indians. The battle, though, is why Canada although a member of the British Commonwealth, has traditionally French culture. Also, resentment over the battle and the ensuing loss of French colonies in North America helped bring the French into the Revolutionary War 18 years later. To 1814 now, in the increasingly inaccurately named War of 1812, the British fail to capture the city of Baltimore. Notably, during the battle, lawyer and amateur poet Francis Scott Key composes his poem Defense of Fort McHenry, which was later set to music and adopted as the U.S. national anthem in 1931. Prior to 1931, the U.S. had no national anthem, although the Star-Spangled Banner, Hail Columbia, and My Country 'Tis of Thee were popular at official events. The poem, Defense of Fort McHenry, has 4 verses, though only the first one is ever sung today. If you read the other 3, you'll find out why. 1848. An accident sends a 1-inch thick iron rod through the skull of Vermont Railroad worker Phineas Gage. Now, miraculously, he would survive for 12 more years, but the reported effects on his behavior and personality led to the creation of a branch of study into the nature of the brain and its functions, particularly with a person's personality. Also, despite the sudden and dramatic changes over the rest of his life, his symptoms gradually diminished, leading to even more study on how the brain can repair itself and some functions can be taken over by other portions of the brain. That all is dated back to this day. Phineas Gage. Finally, now we go to 1974 in New York State for this.
Urgently demand immediate negotiations.
Over a course of about 2 or 3 days, we tried to negotiate with the authorities, but it was all a game. It wasn't really a negotiation. It was like make-believe. Things changed. It became more serious.
9:05 a.m. September 13th. We're on the roof of A block, waiting for the assault to begin. The hostages are on the catwalks with knives at their throats.
That was state police and New York National Guard storming Attica Prison, ending the 4-day prison riot and resulting in the deaths of 43 people. The inmates had revolted over inhumane treatment and made dozens of demands, including better living conditions and reduced overcrowding. Officials had agreed to 28 of those demands, but not the most important. That would be amnesty for their actions during the riot. And then, of course, the violent confrontation on this date, 1974. That is your look back in history for today, September 13th, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, Westport police arrested a Fairfield woman for allegedly stealing more than $1,000 worth of clothing. Westport police were dispatched to Roundabout, a resale couture store on Post Road East at about 5 p.m. Thursday on reports that a shoplifter was acting aggressively toward store employees. Well, employees told police that 68-year-old Barbara Convertito had used scissors to cut the security sensors off of numerous pieces of merchandise before hiding the clothes in her purse and attempting to leave the store. Well, when the store manager asked Convertito if she had anything that she wanted to pay for, police said the Fairfield resident pushed the store employee out of the way and attempted to flee. The manager, however, was able to lock the store's door so the suspect could not leave. When police arrived on the scene, they detained Convertito and checked her car for any stolen goods. In the car, police said they found numerous stolen items worth about $1,170. Convertito was charged with 4th-degree larceny, 3rd-degree assault, and possession of a shoplifting device. All right, we're going to throw it over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. We were live at Fairfield Ludlow's Taft Field last night. Season opener for the Brian McMahon Senators as they traveled up to Fairfield to take on the Falcons in girls soccer. Peyton McNamara played very well for the Senators, leading the way offensively, but Natalie Kelchner stole the show as she shut down the Senators' attack as the Falcons and McMahon played to a 0-0 scoreless draw. Exciting at times, but ultimately no one able to break through. Both teams earn a point in this early season contest. Let's look at the highlights from last night's game.
Who makes the move? We'll have the McMahon starting lineup shortly, but first the kick. That is batted away to safety.
Nice job there by Natalie Kelcher. You're going to see her do that quite often throughout the season. Not afraid in that box. That's something important if you're a keeper here in the FCAC. Don't be afraid. Don't ever hesitate on a through ball like that, especially on a free.
They play along that far side right in front of the McMahon bench. Falcons coming away with possession, played out to the middle of the field. And here's McKenna Forrest, but she can't quite control. Caitlin Hocker working it up, and now an opportunity for McNamara, trying to work around the defender. Great play there by the keeper. McNamara held possession, and ultimately this rush comes to no avail. How about Kelchner?
What a play by Kelchner. Good opportunity there from McMahon. Another nice save.
They're hoping to get 2017 started off on the same foot as McNamara with some fancy footwork there. How about that touch?
Burst of speed. Nice move there. Gets by defenders.
Out with space. Pass back to the middle. Shot, and it was blocked away by a lingering defender.
That's Bridget Walsh right there coming in. A second defender. Nice play by Bridget Walsh.
Opportunity here for Hocker, but she couldn't quite get all of that one. It skips over the end line, out of bounds. Goal kick.
Fairfield Ludlow now 1-0-1 on the season. We'll take on Danbury Thursday afternoon. McMahon 0-0-1 will host the Greenwich Cardinals in their home opener. Looking at some of the other girls soccer scores from around the conference this week. Fairfield Ward won on Monday 3-1 over West Hill. St. Joe's a big win 8-0 over Trinity Catholic. Ridgefield 7-1, a win over Stanford. They bounced back after their opening draw. Staples 5-0 over Danbury. Darien, another win, now 2-0 on the season with a 1-0 win over Trumbull. Greenwich and New Canaan played to a 1-1 draw, and Wilton, another shutout victory, 3-0 over Norwalk. Don't forget, this afternoon we have field hockey coming up on the HAN Network. Wilton traveling to New Canaan. The first face-off has been backed up to 4:30 p.m. We'll have a special Nutmeg Sports pregame show for you from Dunning at 4 o'clock. That'll do it for this Nutmeg Sports update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, a Shelton family is taking it one day at a time as their son begins his road to recovery following an explosion in their garage last week that left him with serious burns on his face and body. 21-year-old Joey Tremblay was planning to grab a few things out of his toolbox in his family's Edgewood Avenue home garage in Shelton when tragedy literally shook the neighborhood. Now, Joey's mother, Lisa Tremblay, said that he was getting what he needed from his toolbox, and the next thing he saw was a ball of fire and winded up on the driveway. Now, the blast sent Joey through the garage's barn-style doors and into a disoriented state in the family's driveway, according to his mother. Lisa Tremblay said that she and her husband couldn't see Joey immediately due to the amount of flames and smoke, but after a few moments he was seen stumbling toward them. The Tremblay family said despite Joey's injuries, they're aware it could have been much worse. Now, the investigation into what caused the explosion is ongoing. Friends have now set up a GoFundMe page to help cover Tremblay's medical expenses. You can find a link and more information at sheltonherald.com. And State Representative Adam Dunsby and State Senators Tony Boucher and Tony Wong have joined together to release a revised 2-year state budget proposal with no new taxes that they say would put a stop to the governor's executive order, restore funding for education and core social services, and provide stability for towns and cities. Now, according to a statement from the legislators, the revised budget proposal offered by Senate and House Republicans includes no tax increases and rejects the governor's proposal to shift teacher pension costs onto towns and cities that would further burden municipalities and lead to increased property taxes. Now, the Republican budget proposal combines some elements of the Senate and House Republicans' multiple prior proposals released earlier this year, as well as some feedback from Democratic lawmakers and the governor, and factors in the legislature's passage of a state employee labor concessions deal that is now law. You can get more detail on that on any of our HAN Network news sites. And Easton Emergency Medical Service has awarded its Marge Smith Dedication Service Award to Joseph Segrin, emergency medical responder who's been an active volunteer for the past 3 years. Now, the award was named in memory of Marge Smith, an emergency medical technician who volunteered at Easton EMS for 30 years. For many of those years, she served as chief. Smith passed away in 2016. Now, in addition to responding to ambulance calls, Smith went above and beyond her duties as an EMT to contribute in a number of ways to making Easton EMS an outstanding service. Now, the Marge Smith Award recognizes an outstanding member of the service who offers their time, energy, and expertise above and beyond answering 911 calls. But you can get more at eastoncourier.com. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today on your coffee break after this.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through September 30th.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com. Weed and Duryea, New Canaan's home center and full-service lumberyard. Everything for your home and improvement projects. We also carry seasonal items, barbecue grills, housewares, newest LED light bulbs, doors, windows, and much more. Weed and Duryea, 21 Grove Street, New Canaan, a division of Northeast Building Supply.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. A 58-year-old Carnival worker is being held on a $1 million bond after police arrested him on sexual assault charges at the Trumbull Fall Festival location on September 7th. Now, according to reports, Trumbull police were contacted by New York State Police, informing them that a Carnival worker believed to be in town was wanted on 2 counts of sexual assault. Now, New York officers described the suspect and said he was an employee at the amusement ride company that was contracted to do the Trumbull Festival. Well, officers went to the event shortly before noon on Thursday, the day before the festival opened, and arrested 58-year-old Roy Hilliard of Henrietta, New York. Now, Trumbull police charge Hilliard with being a fugitive from justice, and he was awaiting extradition, but you can get more on that story at thetrumbuletimes.com. In other news, Darien's VFW post commander and former longtime Darien postal worker Lenny Hunter was struck by a car in Bridgeport Tuesday morning while he was working as a crossing guard. That, according to previous commander Phil Kraft, who visited Hunter at the hospital on Tuesday. Now, Kraft said 68-year-old Hunter, who's a Bridgeport resident, was in the intensive care unit at St. Vincent's Medical Center. He said Hunter was on the sidewalk when he was struck by a car. The Connecticut Post reported shortly after 8 in the morning at the intersection of Park and North Avenues near the Geraldine Johnson Elementary School that 2 crossing guards were hit by a car as they worked around 8:10 a.m. Tuesday. Now, according to a police spokesman, Hunter took the full brunt of the car and was carried about 30 feet from the point of impact. Hunter has 2 broken legs and suffered a serious hit to the head. The retired postal worker and Vietnam veteran is in critical condition. He underwent surgery at St. Vincent's Medical Center mid-afternoon Tuesday. You can get more on that story at DarienTimes.com. And Hearst, Connecticut media reports that a Stamford police officer interrupted an armed robbery in a downtown park this week. Sergeant Jennifer Pinto said 2 people collecting cans and bottles in Rotary Park, just south of Tresser Boulevard on Greenwich Avenue, said they were approached by 2 teenagers on bicycles just after 5 p.m. Monday. One of the youths asked the man for $5, but when the man refused, the youth pointed a gun at him and the other suspect pulled out a knife. However, a police officer driving on Greenwich Avenue spooked the suspects, who fled south toward Richmond Hill Road on their BMX bikes. Now, Pinto said officers swarmed the area, making a number of stops, but were unable to find those suspects. And in other news, 2 women will head Strafford's major party tickets this fall, as Stephanie Phillips and Laura Hoydick emerged as the winners of Tuesday's primaries for mayor in Strafford. Now, Phillips, the Democratic Town Committee chairman, won her party's nomination with 1,315 votes, besting Joe Paul's 628 votes and Lenny Petroselli's 380 votes. Now, Hoydick, the 120th District State Representative, defeated Sandra Zalek, 1,385 to 288, to take the Republican nomination. Phillips and Hoydick will not be alone on the mayoral ballot, however, as Paul and Zalek have both collected enough signatures to run as petitioning candidates on November 7th, meaning there will be a 4-way race to see who succeeds Republican John Harkins in December. Now, you can get more on Strafford's primary results, including the races for town council, at StraffordStar.com, and we'll have more coverage on today's CT Pulse at 12:30. But let's throw it over to Frank Granito to get one final look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And some early morning cloud cover that we saw has made way for partly sunny skies right now. We're going to see this as we go on through the afternoon. We're going to be looking at intervals of sun and clouds throughout the rest of the day. An expected high of 77. Partly cloudy overnight and a little bit humid out with temperatures in the high 60s. Tomorrow brings on a mix of sun and clouds during the day, a high of 80 degrees. A little more humid out tomorrow. That number is going to feel closer to 85, 86. Thursday afternoon, there is a chance for a passing thunderstorm or two as well. It'll be mostly cloudy tomorrow night with a low of 65. Humid again on Friday, partly cloudy skies one more time in the morning. Maybe one or two more showers coming our way. Temperatures in the high 70s, but 80% humidity. It'll feel more like 90. So football Friday night, they're going to have to deal with some sticky and humid conditions. Partly cloudy overnight, though. It'll start to get a little breezy before Saturday morning, a low of 64 heading into the weekend. That's going to do it for this weather update. Don't forget, we're at New Canaan this afternoon for field hockey. 4:30 is the start, 4 o'clock for your pregame game with myself and Kevin Coleman. We'll see you there.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And 12:30 CT Pulse coming up. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 with the latest local news and more. Have a great day.